Start streaming, yo. Start streaming. Come on now. Just. Is it on? Yeah, it's on. It's rolling, it's red, and everything looks crooked.
Come on now.
As usual, I have to pull down volume on my. I'm a bit sad to die. To die? I'm a bit sad today, everyone. I honestly wanted just not to stream, because I don't like. What do I say? I like making stuff that makes people happy. What I'm mostly pissed off about is the fact that I cracked it because of the actual uh God. I'm sorry, everyone. Let me just collect myself a little bit. I'm so annoyed. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. I always bought or purchased Apple's own protective things like these. I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean. All right. So I've been using these screen protectors or screen. I mean, I don't know what to call them, but yeah, they lock on with a magnet at the bottom like this. All right. Oh, thank you so much, baby. So they lock onto the body like this with a magnet, and then they flip up over. And I've always gotten these for my Apple products, okay? And I've got one for the big iPad also over there. Let me just do this. All right. So this right here is my this thing here is my older iPad, my iPad Pro, and I've got one of those covers. Yeah, it's a cover. One of those covers for it too, and it also locks down at the bottom. Now, between all of these three, there is this problem that I keep having with my new iPad, and the place of the crack, you can't even see it. It's really small. You see it in the picture in the thumbnail. It's up here, but it's just the problem I've been having with this thing is awful, absolutely awful, because this thing, it doesn't have this magnet at the bottom. Much for it to do that, and since there's nothing holding it anywhere, only at the back, it slid right out of my hand and down into a concrete floor. It only hit the side, right down here, but it kind of, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little spot here. So it hit here, and by hitting down here, it didn't hit up here where the crack is, or here where a smaller crack is. It hit down here, and because of this, it broke up here. So the screen works. Everything still works, but I can feel it. Now, the thing is, some people will say, Jakob, you got this for a steal price. I mean, you bought it used, and you bought it used for $500. Yes, it's a steal price. But if I wanted to repair this, if I went down to a shop now, it would cost me $500 here in Sweden. It would cost me exactly $550 at most stores to fix this screen. Now, if I wanted to fix this myself, I can get a replacement screen off Amazon. Now, here's the problem with that. I don't know what kind of quality those screens will be. I don't know if these will be bad copies or if there's going to be something wrong with them. I don't, God. What I would want is, I would want a screen that is just as good as the ones that Apple put in here. You see, these screens, they have the digitizer and the glass glued together. And since they're glued together, you cannot just exchange the glass. You have to dislodge the entire screen with the digitizer and switch out the whole thing. And that's why it's so stupidly expensive. And when it comes to aftermarket repairs for something like this, they started selling these back in 2018. So it hasn't been that long that these have been out on the market. So sure, if you buy it new and you pay about $1,000 for one of these, then maybe you can justify paying $500 to repair it. But in my case, it would cost as much as this whole thing costed me. And on top of that, if anyone wrote in chat, Jakob, didn't you have like insurance with Apple Care package? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Uh, it just it's so stupidly expensive. It's so stupidly expensive. Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to my broke my screen rant. And as you can see, it doesn't look like it's broken. You can't even see it until you put the light in the right way onto the screen and then zoom in on the damage. But it's right up here and it's actually so bad that I can feel it. And it's gonna get worse over time. But like I said, stores in Sweden will repair them for $550, and it's just too much. It's too much money. How many? Oh shoot, older iPads is just the glass. Yeah, not with these. The digitizer and the glass are glued together, and it's the worst when companies do this. I mean, Apple aren't the only ones doing this. Of course, everyone wants to do it because now it becomes expensive. Most of these will sell you some kind of an insurance. And with Apple, if you have this Apple Care thing, then if you break it, you don't have to. I don't know what you have to pay in between, but you don't pay much, and they give you a brand new one. Now, for me, that's a waste of resources. For Apple, it's not. They're probably just going to refurbish it and then resell it to someone refurbished. I don't know how that works. We don't have Apple stores in Sweden that sell refurbished stuff. We do have tech stores that sell refurbished gear, but usually the gear is like 5 or 6 years old. It's like I bought another iPhone 6 from a store like that, and it had been refurbished basically. So I have two of these iPhone 6s now. I like them because they're really nice cameras on there, and it's so simple to use for stuff like that. Plus, with AirDrop and everything, when you're doing it all Apple anyway, if you've got a MacBook like I have here on the side and everything, it's just very nice. But, oh God. Raise. Here's the recipe. Raise your hand. Come on, raise it. No. Drop and say, fuck it. What? Hello and welcome everyone for joining up in on this really ranty stream. I'm super angry, and I really want to hammer home this point. Do not under any circumstances buy these covers from Apple. Do not do that. It's way too easy for this thing to slip out of it because of the magnets only being on the back inside the iPad. It's why I dropped it. I was holding it like this, and I pressed down on it like this, and then it simply slid out of my hand and just right into the concrete floor. That never happened with the other ones. Never. Because the magnet is attached to the bottom, to the damned... God, I'm so angry. Oh my... Fuck. Jesus. I just got this thing. It was in mint condition. And you know what the worst thing about this is? The absolute worst. I was going to sell this. I was going to sell it because I have been saving money, and if I just saved a little more and then sold this one, I would be able to buy an M1 iPad. Well, now that's out of the question because the value of this thing, because of this little cracked thing up here where it doesn't even really matter, because it's not in the way of the touchscreen. But because of this, it just dropped in value more than 50% on the second-hand market. And so it's no longer worth for me to sell it. I'm just losing money that way. Without this screen split here, this little shitty crack, I could have gotten my money back. The money I paid for this thing. Easy. Because I've seen what other iPad 11 Pros go for from 2018. Still, I would have gotten my money back, and that's not going to happen now. I pretty much fucked myself. God damn it. Just because I chose one of these instead of something else. Oh, I had to go for the legit Apple stuff, didn't I? Yes, Jakob, it's so good. It's so good. Good. I'll give you $50 for Maybe you could put an autograph on it. Yeah, if I put an autograph on this thing, at least that would add maybe $2.50 to the value. That could be something. You're right. You're onto something, I think. Maybe you're making money because you don't really need a new iPad. Maybe you can put an autograph on it. Mine survived a fall of 5 meters on a wood panel. I had a third-party case. Yeah, the thing is that I own 4, 5, 6 iDevices. 6 iDevices. I've dropped all of them many times. This one I had never dropped before. This was the first time I dropped it. And it's so stupidly brittle that it cracked the screen on the first drop. The big iPad Pro, if you knew, if I'm surprised it hasn't broken often, or I'm surprised it doesn't have a big crack in the screen, because if you knew how many times I've dropped this thing, such a bad drop where it's like it's a 1.5 meter drop. It falls right over with the glass outwards going right down onto a floor where you got like rocks and stuff, and it just hits it, and you hear it, and you pick it up, and you don't want to look at it. You don't want to turn the iPad around because you know it's gonna be so stupidly broken. Well, it's happened to me many times, and I turn it around, and it's fine. It's fine. This thing has been a true friend. But this iPad Pro from 2018, I mean, no, it broke the first time. One little slip, one fall, and it cracked the screen. I'm scared of even walking around with this one in the apartment now. It's basically been sitting right there ever since. It's so stupid. Don't change the screen. I had a screen replacement and it just started going crazy. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to talk to you about, because when it comes to repairing Apple stuff, it is way too expensive to do that if the unit isn't more than 2 or 3 years old. It's going to be stupidly expensive. And if you want to do it yourself, like I said, since the digitizer and the glass has been glued or fused together, you have to exchange the whole thing. Basically, what you're doing is you're breaking the iPad into two parts, and one of the parts have to be completely changed out. This is why the screens are so. If you search for iPad Pro screen replacement, you're gonna find out that they're pretty expensive. It's because you're buying it. You're buying a completely brand new screen. You're not buying glass. You're buying a new screen, and that's what I want to talk about. It's a problem, right? If you want to do it yourself. If you want to do it yourself, and if you want to do it through a firm or through a company, it's still gonna be expensive, really, really expensive. And most of these tech companies know that, so they will sell you the screen. It's just that they'll sell it at such a price that it doesn't make any sense for you to actually go and buy the screen and change it out yourself. So what does it mean? What do you have to do to change the screen? We could look at a video. But what I want to do is I'll just explain it real quick. All right, so basically the screen sits within an aluminum frame. Okay, so the whole iPad is basically just an aluminum frame, a bunch of circuit boards, a battery underneath, and then the screen and digitizer in one part, pretty much just pushed into the aluminum housing with some adhesive stuff under it. So in order to get this loose, what you first have to do is you have to heat up the adhesive underneath until it gets so warm that it will easily detach from either the screen or from the aluminum chassis or the casing. And you need a heat gun for that. And you basically just blow heat on the edge of the iPad for several minutes before you even attempt to try to remove it. Now, the easiest way to do it is to somehow use a suction cup or something, suction cup, you push down a suction cup, and then you start pulling it until you can get something in under the screen, and then you start fiddling with it, and you basically just try to loosen up the screen, keep heating it and loosening up the screen, keep heating it until it's loose. And once it's loose, you got to deal with cables and stuff, and there are so many ways that you can break things in here. For instance, if you're doing the suction cup thing, you could break the screen further, which is a problem if you're buying a new screen and you somehow break that screen while trying to fit it again. Then you'll have two broken screens and you won't be able to use any of them. It's just there's way too much that can go wrong. How do I know this? I have actually done a screen replacement on an iPhone. Not this one, but on this one. Not a screen replacement, sorry. I haven't done a screen replacement, but this one I replaced the battery. And it is actually done almost in the same way. First you have to like remove some screws here, but then you have to start doing that thing I said. I didn't use a heat gun, but it would have helped if I did that, because the the adhesive that sits underneath here is very, very strong. It's supposed to be extremely strong, and in many cases it's also supposed to be waterproof, so you can't get any moisture into the phone from the outside, right? So it sits there. It really, really sits there. And the first time I did this, I used a suction cup. I used a suction. Have you ever met a suction cup? They. What is a suction cup? Do you know any suction cups? Oh God. Yeah, well, I did it on this one. I even did a video on it, I think. And it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done, because I was so afraid of actually destroying it. Because once you're on there with a suction cup and you're pulling on it, you're afraid that you're gonna pull too fast, so you break it even further. And especially when you're not doing it in order to change the screen, but to change the battery, which is underneath all of this shit. You have to remove the screen first, remove all the cables, and then switch out the battery, and then put it all back again. So this is why I haven't even tried doing a battery replacement on my old iPad Pro 12.9 inch. How many of you have ever done, have any of you ever tried to do any screen repairs or anything? Have you ever tried to switch out a battery on an iPad? Just break loose, just go wild in the comment section. I would love to see, what your takes are, how hard it was and everything. And in the meantime, I just want to say hello and welcome to everyone. So we got Future Music, Mr. Fung, Teddy Leopard, Electronic Sounds Audio, Rustic, Joshua K. We got Paul or Paul. We got Mike Lucas over here, Russ. We got, let's see here, Pascal Kiefer, Jack. Hello, Jack. Future Music. I've already said that, probably, I think. I just want to say hello and welcome. Sasha is also here, and also Samuel. Yeah, it's so nice to see all of you, and basically, without you here, I would just be sitting here and moping today while editing my video. By the way, what I'm editing right now is, since I'm currently working on my Pro video, I wanted it to be finished like by the end of this week, but instead of doing that, I'm just gonna make sure I've taken the time to get it done proper. But since the last video I put out went so incredibly badly for the channel, many people don't want to see my music videos. Since it since it didn't pull in that many views or anything, I decided to do another video. And then I realized, hey, Cubasis 3 just got a big update, and I wanted to talk about that for a long time because I've been beta testing Cubasis 3. So that's the video I'm working on now. It's going to be a really short one, maybe 6 or 7 minutes, and I'll put it up tomorrow or something like that. So yeah, that's going to be up tomorrow. I just want to say hello and welcome to everyone. Baseline IKA Klangattentat 230 Leo. Aggravating now, but soon you'll forget the whole thing after your new iPad Pro. I also discovered a very drastic hairline crack scratch in my 2018 Pro, but I got AC Plus, so AC Plus, you mean Apple Care Plus. So I can just get it fixed for like $80 when it gets too distracting. Oh, I want to do that. I heard that if you get an Apple to replace the battery and they crack the screen, you have to pay for it. I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, that's pretty fucked. I would be livid if that happened to me. I guess it's the best way to wreck it totally. Timothy. Hey Timothy, hello. I would be terrified to try. It was absolutely terrifying. Just doing this, the battery replacement for the iPhone was absolutely terrifying. I've never been so scared. Well, I've been scared before, but I've never been so nervous. I was sweating profusely, so badly that I kept dropping the phone and the tools that I was using to try to pry the screen off, because like I said, the adhesive under the screen is so incredibly strong, which is, it's a good thing, you know. When there's nothing wrong with the phone or the iPad or anything, it's really good that the adhesive is so strong. It's amazing. It's just the way it should be. But it's not fun when you're trying to replace something like a battery or trying to switch the screen or anything. It just feels not good. It doesn't feel good. It's not a nice feeling to repair one of these. I've repaired a lot of things in my life, a lot of DIY stuff. I've built a lot of computer setups, and never ever did I feel so nervous when switching out a CPU, like a processing unit, or a graphics card, even though it costed me like a shitload of money. I was never so nervous. You know, a PCI slot back in the days. What you loosened one screw in the chassis and then you just pulled that sucker out, and then the next one right in there, and you're done. Well, not maybe the AGP slot. I keep forgetting the terms for the different slots in the PC. I don't even know what they use nowadays. But yeah, it wasn't that hard. If you wanted to switch out your PSU, I mean, 4 screws and then unhook all the cables, you pull it out. But with something like this, where everything is glued together, and you have to put a suction cup on the screen, and you start pulling it, and it just feels like everything's gonna break. No, it's not fun. Not even with a heat gun. Ugh. Make a track for it. Sorry you broke the iPad, or was it an excuse to buy an M1? Yeah, you know what? It's not an excuse. You see, I was going to sell this one, and I would probably have gotten the money back as what I paid for it, because I got it at a steal deal, because I got it secondhand, right? And I would have gotten my money back. That's the price. I was going to put it up for the price that I bought it for, and that's still a very good affordable price for this unit. And then I was going to take the money, save up a little bit more, and get the M1 iPad. And now I can't do that, because the value just... I guess I just shit the pants on this one. I don't even know if that's how you say it in English. What do you say? This is how the bread breaks, or is this how the cookie crumbles? Is this the way you yank the... I don't even know. I don't know. I don't have a saying for this. Not in English anyway. I can say loads in Swedish, but that's kind of useless right now. Jakob, there's a lesson here. Okay, Rustic, you come on, go ahead. Tell me what the lesson is. Tell me what the lesson is. we got the point. All right, all right, all right. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna go on about it that much. I'd pop a protector on it and save up for the M1. Yes, I am gonna save up for the M1, but at this point I might as well just wait like another year before I try to buy an M1, and I can buy that used and break that screen. Cubase's new update without any bug fixes. There are still some bugs in Cubase's, yeah, but I'm just head over. Do you say that head over knees, or is that like knees in the ball joints? What do you say it? Head over heels? I think it is, or is it a heely wheelie? I can't remember how you say that in American, because I don't speak American. I speak Swedish. So I've fallen in love with Cubases because again I've fallen in love with it. Even with the bugs now, I've fallen in love with it because I can now use my MIDI controller with it, with the mixer and the transport buttons, and I'm like losing my mind over that. And I can do multi AUV3, and I'm like, yeah, I've gone all psycho over it. It's just I love it. I love it so much. And I got something in my eye, which is why I'm doing these weird twitchy things. And it's probably gonna be there for the rest of the stream. Head over heels. All right. Head over heels or knee deep in. Head over heels in the expression. But I like heely wheelie. Well, I'm all heely wheelie over the Cubasis thing because oh wow, wow. And what's so good about it? What is so good about it? Well, we've gotten the stuff we've asked for a long time, and it's free. They didn't ask for any money. They just did the update, put it out. So if you have Cubasis 3, then you can just update. I mean, I almost expected them to do this as a paid thing, but no. They just did it. We've been asking, some of the things in here, we've been asking for 6 or 7 years, or maybe more. For as long as Cubasis has existed on iOS, we've asked for these things. And seeing that they've actually taken all of our critique to heart, I have new hope in them. I already had hope in them before, but I just feel like they really, like, I know that Lars, at least the one of the team members for Team Steinberg Mobile, I know that he cares. I know he cares. I've talked to him personally. Lars cares. I know that. I know he cares. So seeing this, I'm kind of okay with me breaking my screen now that I've seen this thing with Cubasis. Cubasis 1 was a train wreck. Cubasis 2 was a buggy mess at launch too, and got 7 years of free update that made it what it is now. People just poor memory. AUV3 effects multi-out is missing. Huh? AUV3 effect multi-out is missing. Well, I wouldn't say it's missing. Maybe you could say it's missing, but yeah, I mean, out of all the things that I wanted mostly in Cubasis is I want to be able to control the faders and transport with a controller. That is added. And when it comes to AUV3 multi, the most important thing for me, at least, was that we could do the multi-out for tracks, and we can now do that. And the third thing that I wanted was to be able to do sidechaining properly. And instead of just enabling AUV3 multi output, between apps, they have implemented this sidechaining thing in a better way than I thought they would. And on top of that, the fourth thing that I'm talking about in my video, you're gonna see it tomorrow anyway, but the fourth thing I'm talking about is that the fact that I love working with vocoders, right? But the problem with vocoders is that you haven't been able to send MIDI into effect slots. Well, now you can. And the way that they've set it up, brilliant. It's just great. It's just great. Have you tried Quark Studio with the update on Cubasis? No, you mean yes, yes I have. In fact, if I scroll to this point, where is it? If I scroll to this point, you can see that in this video, I'm showing me working with. You know what? Let me just play this intro for you here. This has to be the sickest update for Cubasis ever. Now I'm playing this project for a specific purpose, and it is because it's actually using several of these new features that many of us have been asking for a very long time. Now, first of all, I want to highlight that we can now finally add MIDI controllers to, well, we can map them so that we can control transport buttons and also mixer things. So if we want to control the Jakob is getting all technical. Mixer things. Remember that, kids. That's what you call it. Mixer things. So yeah, I'm editing this video. It's gonna come out tomorrow, you know. In the meantime, what I'll do here, I'd rather do this. I'm gonna send this thing here. Where is it? There we go, and I'll make sure that I can send it over here. I love AirDrop. AirDrop is the best thing ever. It's made my life much simpler and easier, and I love that. AirDrop has been the best thing ever. Oh no, I sent the wrong thing. What the hell did I send? That's not what I wanted to send. I wanted to send that thing. Wait. No, that's not it. There we go. There we go. Now you can see it in all the full glory. Huh? Doesn't that look good? What do you say, kids? Doesn't that look absolutely wonderful? Isn't that great? You can see that I mean, I was lucky. I was lucky with my screen. This could have ended up going into the screen, but look at this shit. It's it's licking the outer part of this corner. It's maybe I shouldn't complain too much, you know? I mean, I could have had a much worse... Oh, there's actually a piece missing here? I didn't see that. Well, it's not weird that I... Yeah, that's what it looks like anyway. AUE3 to FX is well done too. Yeah, I love MIDI input to waves tune real time. Yeah, and I mean you can do that with vocoders. You can do it with tuning apps. I don't know if recently I purchased AudioKit Pro. AudioKit Pro, I love their apps, and I love that they keep bringing back their so-called limited apps. It's annoying when you can't buy their limited apps, you know, because they're supposed to be limited, but they've started bringing back some of them, and I did buy their auto-tune thing to use with a track. Not the one that I just now posted, like yesterday, the one before that, the Epic track. I used their auto-tune for that one. It's really good. It's really good. I'd get a tempered glass protector on it ASAP. Yeah, I know, Mike. I know. I should do that. I should get a proper thing for it so that it doesn't get worse. God, it pisses me off. It does piss me off, but I was lucky. I was lucky. Cracks can spread. Yep, that they can. Is it a time for bad fixing ideas yet? I don't think it's time for it yet. Actually, I think tone boosters is good as Fab Filter. To be honest, I don't agree. I don't agree because of they're almost as good, I would say, depending on which one you're talking about. Because when we're talking about something like Pro Q3, I don't agree because of the curves I can get with that. Brick walling, you can't do that with tone boosters. If they added that, then maybe they would get close. And when it comes to I'm still talking Pro Q3 here, like EQ matching, tone boosters can't do that, for instance. And I use that. I actually use stuff like that when I do certain things. Sometimes when I record something, I might forgotten how I do things or how I EQ something. I'll use the EQ matching to read and see how I could EQ it to make it sound the same again. It's a real professional tool. I love that. And tone boosters can't do that as far as I know. So I'm not saying that tone boosters is worse. I'm saying it's good, but I wouldn't say that they're equivalent to the FabFilter ones. They could become that though if they added 96 decibel slopes and brick wall slopes to the filters, for instance. And if they also did like EQ matching, for instance, if they did that, then yeah, it would get close. It would get close. And also, I think you have a limited amount of bands, whereas FabFilter has, I think it's like up to 24 bands or something like that. It's a sick amount of bands. It's just they're on another level. Besides, considering everything that FabFilter does, in my mind, they're one of the most, what do you call it? Out of something that is so heavy, like plugin wise, they're really, really, really. What am I trying to say? Optimized. They are heavy plugins, yes, but heavily optimized plugins too. TB is like 95% of FF. Good enough. I still don't. Yeah, okay, 95. I would say 90. But those extra percent for me is what sells me on FabFilter. That is the whole thing. Ever since I got the FabFilter suite, I'm always looking for ways to. Here's the thing. I'm always limited on resources. So the only time I'll grab other plugins is to unload resources. Okay? Because maybe now I need another equalizer, or another filter, or another distortion unit, and instead of loading Saturn II, which is one of my most used apps now, I have almost completely stopped using compressors. I've almost completely stopped using compressors because of how I can get the same result, but even better with distortion and saturation. So the only time I'm not reaching for their plugins is when I need something lighter on the processing, in order to save processes because the project is running heavy. And in many cases, if I can't find what I'm looking for in other plugins, what I'll do is I'll bounce the audio, unload the plugin for that channel, and then load the plugin for the channel where I need it on. I just keep reaching for FabFilter stuff, and I've tried many other plugins now. And I mean, the tone booster stuff they're awesome. It's just that they don't have, like you say it's for many of you it's 95% of what FabFilter. Yeah, well, those extra percent is what I need, is what I want, is what I'm looking for. That's why I keep going for it. And I still think it's underrated on the iOS platform because people are mostly looking at price. And in many cases, many people won't even need the things, But me doing sound design and stuff, I just can't go without it. I just can't. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna disagree with you. I hope I have justified or clarified why I disagree with you, so that you aren't pissed at me for not thinking like you do. TBR lighter, that's a big advantage. Obviously price too, but can't really weigh that too heavily when discussing quality. Yeah, and I wouldn't say necessarily that TB is low quality. It's not. TB is really good. Tone booster stuff are good, and it's very clear what they're trying to emulate. Why did I do that? I put the paper into the tea. I mean, it's very clear what tone boosters are trying to do, right? Tone boosters are trying to be FabFilter like, and they are. And for people who do not want to put out the money for FabFilter stuff, go for tone boosters. You're gonna get happy with it. You're getting great value for the price. Me, however, FabFilter, that's the deal for me. Besides, I did purchase the whole package back when they had it, the whole package. Um, it was only Saturn 2 I purchased extra outside that. But as soon as the package was there, I think we even did a video about that, right? I did a video in where I purchased it. Bliss is great. I can't stop thinking about M1. Yeah, you know what? I've been talking to friends lately. Some of them are developers that. God. Okay, I can't talk about certain things. So what can I talk about? Kai, I can talk about talking to Kai. That's perfectly okay. So me and Kai have been talking about M1, and God, that guy has completely convinced me that I need an M1 Mac or something. And I've seen the storm online, you know? I've seen people saying outright that they're gonna sell their PC to get an M1 Mac. And I get why, especially people doing design work in graphic design and stuff like that. I mean, even on an iPad, when doing video editing and stuff, I'm flabbergasted over how quickly you can export a 4K video or in 60 FPS, or it's just because of how Apple has dedicated hardware to doing certain stuff. And so if you're into graphic design and you're doing things like that, then not getting an M1 is weird almost. But does it help? Does it help in music making? Well, the thing is that most of these apps aren't running hyper-threading yet or multi-core yet. Cubase is supposed to do that. Someone told me, and I've been trying to see if I can load more instances and run them and everything. And yeah, the processing central processing unit looks like it's doing no work. But DSP load is like in the reds, and so it still doesn't work that well. Wait until the end of the year to see about the bigger MacBook Pros and the more Pro iMacs. Was there an attempt to play all your iPads simultaneously, an iPad Symphony? I don't know what you're asking for, but playing all the iPads simultaneously, I don't think I've ever done that. Mm, 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 mm. I think I've caught up with what you're saying. FX multi-out is what. Yeah, I think I've caught up with what you're saying. Leave it, Jacob. Focus on new target. Thinking about. Yeah, I would get an M1 Mac if it support all the iPad apps. Well, Dan, I don't think it's got to do that. I don't think so. But then again, I don't know. You know, in the end, it's all about prices. It's all about money. On desktop, stuff have always costed more, and then suddenly apps come into to the world, and suddenly stuff costs very little. And so, would developers really wanna release their stuff? You know, if you're selling stuff on desktop, would you really want to release it on another platform where people are used to buying apps for $5 or $10 when your apps cost maybe $100 or more, and vice versa? And yeah, God, I think only time will tell us what that will look like. It's all up to the developers and how they choose to opt into this new market, or whatever we might call it. I hope so. The dev has to opt in, and it's better for the developers like that. Is it better for them? Because, on one hand, I'm just getting developers saying, no, I'm not going to do that. I mean, what you should be doing is ask the developers if they think it's a good idea, and ask the developers who already have the choice right now to do it why they haven't. Ask them, because for instance, when I talk to Kai, he talks about time and money. Most developers talk about time and money. What does it actually mean to do that? A lot of people forget that you still have to put in some effort, and now suddenly you have more apps to take care of. We already have this problem on iOS with developers having to put out multiple apps every year in order to sustain themselves. Okay, so that's one thing. And the more apps you get out, the more time you need to put in to keep all of them up to date. And so you get into situations where people will contact you and say, I've seen these emails now because I'm also involved in development, and I've seen emails from people saying, why haven't you fixed this yet? It's been 3 months. Why haven't you fixed this yet? It's been 5 months. Why haven't you fixed this yet? And I'm not doing code myself. If I did, I would probably be sitting and doing it. Now Kai has to do all of the coding, and he has 10 apps or more to take care of. And so it's not like he isn't working on it, he is. And now let's say that suddenly you're sitting there with 10 apps, and let's say you want to make 5 of them available on the Mac store. So you do that, and then something else crops up. It might be something with scaling or something, where you need to put in time. And now it's going to take you longer to keep everything up to date. And so you might have to drop something. And so you might have to drop doing updates for some apps for a while. This is always going to be a problem, like time management. And we had Star Ackerman, who has been involved with marketing and releasing apps for many, many years. She said just that sometimes you just have to drop an app or make it disappear because there's no money in it if it's not selling, and there's no time to keep it up to date if you have these new things you have to put out, because you're trying also to sustain a business. So I get it. I completely get it. I'm not saying that we're going to drop Agonizer. That's not happening. We're working on it. We're still working on it. And I don't know exactly how far it's come, but we've got a list of bugs that we keep on, what do you call it? In Swedish we say bockar av. Vi bockar av saker på listan. We're basically just, scratching out the stuff that we've taken care of. And I'm not sure exactly where we are. And yeah, it might have gone 5 months since the last update, but to us, it feels like yesterday because we've been at it this time. And he's coding it, and I'm testing it. And at the same time, he also has to do work on new apps and works with other people because he's also got a business to sustain, to try to sustain himself so he can keep making apps. It's not easy. It's not easy, this time management thing. It's not easy at all. Leads to lost money for devs, Tangled. It's bad on all ends. The devs should be able to choose what's supported. Combining the ecosystem leads to most lost money for devs and higher prices for us. Actually, Apple needs to lower the percent they take from devs. Dan, they're already doing that. They did this year in January. In January, they cut down. So if you're making less than what was it, $100,000, or it was a lot of money. If you're making less than that, so if you're an indie dev, you're probably making less money than that. All right. So if you aren't making money up to a certain point, you no longer pay what is it, 30% or something. You pay 15. It's half that. So Dan, they've already done that. Apple, they've already taken that cut, which is nice for the devs. Can you tell me, do you pay for more storage on Apple Cloud, or you use other? No. I actually pay for storage on Apple Cloud, but I can tell you this: I do not trust one online storage system. So I also use Dropbox, which feels very expensive compared to iCloud. iCloud feels like it's cheap as hell, but seriously, with Dropbox, it feels expensive. but it's an extra service that I use. And on top of that, I also have a Wi-Fi drive connected to my network so that I can store stuff on that. But it's not working properly. I'm using this client. What do you call it? Where you're, it's God, what is it called? It's a client. You have two windows. Can someone help me from the computer sphere here? What do you call it? It's a client just for moving files over to. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it's called. Low end devs only give up to 15%. That's right. Microsoft takes more, Valve takes more. Yeah. FTP, FTP, thank you. Yes, I have an FTP app that I use, and then I move stuff onto a cloud that I've created here. I also have my passport, a VD drive, and sometimes I run that on a VD cloud. But the stupid thing with that is that you have to use your own stupid cloud app, which duplicates files. And it's super stupid. So, if you want to put a file onto the VD cloud, you first move it from your camera. Let's say you want to move a 1 gigabyte movie over to this thing. You first have to move it on to this stupid app which duplicates this movie. So instead of just copying it over to a cloud, you now have, instead of 1 gigabytes of movie, you have 2 gigabytes of the same stupid movie. So it moves it into that first, and then it uploads it to the cloud. And it takes forever. It's really stupid. I hate that. It's easier with an FTP. I don't know how secure it is. I mean, there might be hackers living around me, but yeah, that's what I've been using for a long time. And it's actually, once you get it to work and you're connected to Wi-Fi, it's a great way of doing it. But you can't really bring that with you unless you're using a Wi-Fi drive like mine. But don't use the VD stuff because they use their own apps and it's really stupid. I'd rather just do it with an FTP. But I couldn't get that to work with this drive. Maybe there is a way, but I couldn't get it to work. So it's really just a super expensive portable drive. You basically, I mean, it's got a lithium battery in there too, but you're basically paying 4 times as much for storage that you would pay if you went out and bought a USB drive and put it in a chassis. You'd pay 4 times less, for storage than you pay for something like this. This was a silly purchase. I'm building my own NAS sometime, hopefully by the end of this year. I'd love to hear about it. Jakob, you have VD? VD, do you mean... Can you just write out exactly what you mean? Because when you say VD, I'm thinking maybe you were asking about a venereal disease. Because of how you usually go on during these streams. You've been like... rustic. So just type out what you mean, okay? Because I'm not answering that until you clarify what you mean. The movie is stupid too? Yes, Dean. Of course the movie is stupid. Of course it is. Virtual drive. Is that... Maybe that's what you were asking for. Virtual drive. Audible video. So, hello Audible video. I don't think I've seen you in a while. Welcome. I have Synology NAS that I plan on setting automatic backups to AVS archival storage one of these days. Your silence speak volume. That's what I did for my M1 Mac. Got a 2 terabyte internal NVMe that I threw up in a cheap... I just love these acronyms. These acronyms. I'm wondering how many people are watching the stream right now and all they're hearing is AVP, NVA, NAS, VD, DMVA, FTP, and they're wondering what the hell are these people talking about? What's wrong with them? Is Jacob getting a, like, did I just have a hemorrhage or something? Oh, hi, Mom. I can see you there. Homeland security is all over us. NVMe is the type of solid state drive. Oh, they're really tiny, about 2 terabytes. Solid state drives is something I'd really love because I'm very old school. I've been most of my hard drives are of the old type. 5,200, no, 7,200 RPM move disks. For anyone who doesn't know the difference between a solid state drive and a non-solid state drive, in older forms of hard drives, you have a disk system that moves. It spins around, and then you have a reader. It's like a CD-ROM, but way more technical, and the reading on a very much smaller level. A solid state drive, there are no moving parts. So you can drop that sucker and nothing is gonna break. With a regular hard drive, back in the days, I've had hard drives fail from me just, hitting them when trying to reach for something. And when they're on and they're spinning, and if it falls while it's on and spinning, the arms can move and, they can break basically. That's happened to me. I've had failed drives, drives fail like that. With a solid state drive, that doesn't happen. Plus, they're really small. Only they're also 3 times more expensive, but they're getting cheaper, by the day basically, because the technology is becoming more and more prevalent, more. Well, it's getting. One of these days, we're not going to find these old hard drives. We're only going to find SSD drives, solid state drives. What did you say to her when your hard drive failed? Rustic, are you going to. Don't start now. You've been so nice during this entire stream. You've been so sweet and so nice. Don't start now. I'm not doing it. I saw the inside of an old hard drive. Like I saw the inside of an old hard drive, dude. You should have seen it, man. I'm telling you, that shit is trippy. Yeah, I know. I've picked them apart myself. I mean, I'm one of those people. I've got ADHD, so I fiddle with things. And one day I didn't. I just took one of my drives that I didn't use, and I plucked it apart. My mom knows. I'll screw anything, I'll screw. No, 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 no. That's not. No, 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 no. No, that's not what I meant. My mom knows. I'll screw anything. That's great. That's great. And I was just. Ugh. I was just giving Rustic an earful. NVMe is new expensive drive tech. Aha. I didn't know that. I've basically been sitting here like, NVMe. I had no idea. You know what? Let's find out what that is. For those of you who don't know either, and just like me are sitting at home right now, nodding your heads like as if you know, but you really don't. You just don't want to look stupid, the way that I am. So I'm gonna find out what that is. All right. So what's it called? It's called NMVE. Show title: My mom knows. Will screw anything. Ah, shit. I think I'm gonna put that clip up on Instagram later on. What was it called? NVMe. NVMe. What is? Tell me, Google. Tell me what it is. What is NVMe and why is it important? Oh God, I hate this. Oh, these constant accept. I accept. So what is it and why is it important? A technical guide. Let's see here. NVMe TM, Non-Volatile Memory Express, is a new protocol for accessing high-speed storage media that brings many advantages to compared to legacy protocols. But what is NVMe and why is it important for data-driven businesses? As businesses contend with the perpetual growth of blah blah blah, let's see here. My work has been associated with data storage protocols, evolution. You know what? This, I'm not getting any of this. I don't understand. It's too much text. TLDR, I can't. Let's see here. What is NVMe? High performance, non-uniform memory access optimized, and highly scalable storage protocol that connects to the host to the memory subsystem. The protocol is relatively new, feature-rich, and designed from the ground up for non-volatile memory media, NAND, and persistent memory. Directly connected to CPU via PCIe interfaces. The protocol is built on high-speed PCI lanes. Oh God. And can okay, here's something I get. Gen 3 Link can offer transfer speed more than 2 times than that of SATA interface. Okay, I get it because I've built computers and I've used these connectors, SATA connectors, PCI, and everything to connect up anything from hard drives to whatever, you know? So I kind of get that. So it's faster than that, fine. How expensive is it? Oh, Waldorf Micro XTC. You know, I'll own one of these. I don't know why it's on this tab, but it's here. Why did I read about this? Huh. I don't even remember. I don't remember. Instead of passing gas, I'm passing data. No, that's not what you said. You said instead of passing data from the hard drive through a controller to the CPU, it has a direct pipe to the CPU. Okay, Mike, I can get on board with that. Gotcha. It's just very small, very fast solid state drives. It's not that pricey these days, but it doesn't scale as well as hard drives. Wouldn't get it unless you plan to do a PS5 gen game, PS5 gen games on your PC or Mac. It just means it's faster. Old stuff connects to SATA, but it's limited. So now they connect it directly to PCIe because it keeps going. Oh, those small ports on the motherboards. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I paid $250 for a 2 terabyte Samsung NVE. What were we talking about? Rustic, I don't know. You're always talking about something weird. So I'm not sure, to be honest. I know that this episode was supposed to be about this thing, but we've already talked about that, and I don't want to think about this anymore. I'm just going to keep this picture here. That way the title and thumbnail isn't lying. Let's see here. I think that's yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, I just had to move something out of the way. I can't see what I'm doing here. Okay. Hola amigo, how is life treating you? Fernando, life is treating me it's treating me well. It's treating me well. It's yeah. I've been stressing myself out over the YouTube channel. That's it. But that's the life of anyone doing YouTube videos, basically. So nothing new. This thing right here, the crack, that's been stressing me out a bit, especially since I wanted to sell the iPad and get an M1 iPad. And now that this is here, value's gone down. So yeah, that's pretty much it, Fernando. But yeah, you're pretty much up to speed now. I cracked my screen. We did talk about that, and then the chat decided that I should be focusing on something else. So that's what we're doing. We're talking about solid state drives, and we're talking about storage, iCloud, and stuff like that. Someone asked me, like, do you use something else other than iCloud, or do you just pay for more storage? And I said, yes, I pay for more storage on iCloud because it's cheap. Because I also have Dropbox, and that feels like it's expensive. Compared to iCloud, it is. And so we started talking hard drives, and now we're talking NVMe, and we're talking FTP, and we're talking SDA and DSP, and a lot of acronyms that don't make any sense right now because I'm making them up. But yeah, basically the chat is trying to educate me on what these new drive tech is. Audible Video, nice to see you here. Hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm considering the iCloud 1 TB option. Yeah, go for it. It is really cheap compared to other similar services. It is. Go check the pricing for something like Dropbox. Go check it. Go check it. I mean, the thing with Dropbox is that if you are a multi-platform person, that you're using not only Apple stuff, but you're also using Android, and you're using PC, and you're using all of that, then Dropbox is the way to go, because you can use that on every platform, right? You have a Dropbox app for every platform, so you can easily use it and access all of your files without thinking about it. But if you're only on iOS, then it makes no sense to do Dropbox, really, if you can do iCloud, right? Because I mean, yeah. And then also, like I said, I use a Wi-Fi point where I have hard drives connected to it so that I can use an FTP program and move files that way. But it doesn't it doesn't work as good as it should, It doesn't. I can't get it to work properly, so I paid for more iCloud storage just so it would stop bugging me about filling it up. Yeah, Joshua, that's their. They won, man. That's what. I don't know if you're a man or a woman. I'm sorry, I'm assuming your gender, but that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to just bother you as much as possible until you cave. Honestly, that's what I did too. For both for Dropbox and also for iCloud. Any opinion on quantum computers? No, I know too little about quantum computers to even speak about it. I don't understand quantum physics because I don't know math on that level. You literally have to know very high level math to understand how that works and how quantum computers works. And I don't. I mean, my math level is at the same level as an infant, basically. What about Google Drive? I have not used Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. You know, the biggest problem these days are all these microtransactions we're doing. Small transactions. And if I got Google Drive, I don't know what that would cost me. Microsoft Drive, I don't know. I'm already doing Dropbox, I'm doing iCloud, I'm doing an FTP, I've got the VD, MyCloud. There's so many things, and I really just need one. Ancient aliens taught me quantum physics. Oh my god, that's the funniest thing I've seen this week, I think. Rustic. That's funny, man. Mine. I'm sorry. I'm gonna connect myself. Mine has presented no issues at all, but it's not an SSD. Okay, so this is in the middle of a conversation someone is having. Okay, so you're having one of these battles. What is expensive? What is not more expensive? Just get the new M1 iPad and use Thunderbolt with a hard drive. That's something I was really happy with once I got on to the iPad Pro 2018 model. Because of the USB-C drive, suddenly all of my drives can connect to it without any problems. You were supposed to be able to do that when they introduced iOS 13, even on the older iPads with the Lightning connector. But I tried it with several hard drives. I could never get it to work. It didn't matter what kind of way the way it was formatted or anything. It didn't matter if I had powered connections or not powered connections, if I was using hubs or not. It would not work. But with this one, as soon as I got this home, this iPad, and I connected my hard drive to it, the first one, it just worked. It just popped in, and right there in the filing system. It was wonderful. Mission accomplished. I made Jakob. God damn it, Rustic. Thanks for bringing us up to speed. If I were in China, I would gladly help you get your iPad repaired. Fernando, that would have been awesome. But now I guess I'm just gonna have to live with it. And Fernando, if you weren't here for the beginning, the reason why it's broken is because I dropped it, and I dropped it because I'm using Apple's this. Okay, the reason I dropped the iPad is because these iPads have their magnets on their backs, okay, and this thing attaches to the back. What happened was I was holding it like this, and I was doing this, and I pressed down on the iPad. It slid out, banged in the floor, and broke. That has never happened to me with any of the other ones because they basically attach to the bottom with a magnet. So, you can go to hell, Apple. Not you, Fernando, Apple. You see, these one, they attach with a magnet at the bottom like that, and so you don't get that sliding thing. It doesn't... I've even had instances where I've dropped it and it's done that, and it's still there. Very strong magnet. But these ones, no. What happened to last week's song? He uploaded it already, Rustic. Yes, he did. He actually did, Rustic. I did. Why am I talking about myself in third person? If we go to my channel, we go to videos, then right there, man. Right there.
You don't seem to get it. I need you to listen, alright?
Go check it out, Rustic, because it's awesome. And all of the sounds come from the Unisynth Pro. All of the sounds. And that's what my Unisynth video is going to be about. I was supposed to get that out this Friday, but now I'm not. I'm saving it for next week, and this week, tomorrow, there will be a new video. There will be, but it's going to be about Cubasis and the update, because it deserves that. Lars has done a great job on it, and the rest of the team. Are those Apple cases? Yeah, Enrique, you're right. Mírate, cabrón. Look at this. These are original Apple cases. I've always gone with their stuff because I've always liked their stuff. Because these ones have performed really well. Really well. They're well made. They're actually very well made. And I've never had any problems with them. Never. I mean, I use my iPads almost for as long as I am awake. I've got an iPad or an iPhone in my hand. That's how much I use these units. I'm not like, I don't use my iDevices for 5 or 6 hours a day and then they're lying around somewhere. I use them all the damn time. I'm either editing videos or reading information or doing research or doing something, recording music. All the time. And I mean, I've used these have been used to the point where I'm starting to wear them out, but they're still holding up really well. And that's why I wanted to buy the original one again. But it doesn't stick onto the iPad well enough. The fact that I can do, look at that. Look at that. That's what happened to me. Oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry, chat. Now I'm back at it again. I'm sorry. Let's forget about it. Hey, Vortex, man, I haven't seen your Cubasis video yet. I'm dropping mine tomorrow, and I've seen that you've been making Cubasis videos. What are you thinking about the new? Since I haven't seen them, I might just ask you. What do you think about the new update? It's pretty hot, isn't it? Right? I mean, it's so damn nice to be able to use MIDI controllers. I mean, we've been able to do it for a long time because we've been testing it, yeah, but now we get to talk about it, actually show people that, yeah, it's possible. And all of this coming out free just as an update. I mean, come on, that's great. You think the case is defective, Fernando? I don't. You think so? I don't think so. I think that they just aren't working that well anymore because of how they attach to the back of the iPad. Love the new 3.3 update, especially with MIDI Learn. Yeah, the MIDI Learn is sick. And also, finally, Vortex, I love working with vocoders, and finally, I can work with the vocoders directly in Cubasis and send my stupid MIDI right into the effect section where I've got my vocoders loaded. I'm doing my video. In my video, I have an instance of Matrix vocoder because that's what I've been using lately to do a lot of the music I've been making and posting. I'm using Matrix vocoder. I've pretty much been switching over from Virsynth's iVoxel over to Matrix vocoder. So I've got that in my video, and it just feels so good. And I love the way that they've done it with the sidechaining, and also how you send MIDI to the effects channel. And the way that they've put the icon in the actual instrument window like they've done, it's so good. Benjamin Demirs, when you say exploding drum tracks, oh wait, you exploding. You mean it when you collapse? Is that what you mean, collapsing? Or wait, what do you mean exploding? Benjamin, tell us what you mean. If you are going in between, let's see here, having MIDI control presets is really badass. Yes, it is. You're moving goalposts though. We're talking price per gigabyte. Okay, so I'm in the middle of a war here between SSD and NMVs and stuff. And it looks like Enrique and Mike are having a little bit of a war. As long as you keep it civil, guys, I'm happy. That's true with new MIDI functionality. Love that new sidechain ability. Finally able to use sidechain in the Pro C. And it sounds good, yeah. And what's so nice about it with Cubasis is how they've implemented sidechaining for the channel strip. So if you are running out on resources, I mean, all of the stuff inside Cubasis has been so optimized. So they're running on really low resources. So I've told you before, like all of you, that sometimes I have so many plugins in my track, I don't really want to bounce stuff yet. I don't want to unload stuff yet, but I still need another compressor or need something else. And when it comes to sidechaining, I tested out the sidechaining with the compressor in the actual what it's called in the channel strip, the Cubasis channel strip, and it sounds good too. So being able to do that, and also that the noise gate also supports that, is sick. So you can choose to either do the sidechain for the channel strip compressor or the noise gate. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's everything I wanted plus more. When I record on one minute drums on track, Cubasis won't let you put kick on one, snare on one. Aha, okay. Yeah, you pretty much have to make one MIDI track for every instrument. Pretty much. I know, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying. But let's say you do it like this. Let's say if you're using something like EG Pulse, which has a multi-output AUV3 multi-output version. If you load that and add the rest of the tracks, then you instantly have all the MIDI tracks. Now you can record all of the drum tracks on one MIDI channel. because all of them will still talk to EG Pulse. But in that case, you could just go to the first channel where you actually have the drums coming out and record just the drum track there, and then go to the next one, just record the snare drum. I know it's not the same thing you're talking about, like actually recording all of them and then exploding them or collapsing them into their own tracks. I know it's not the same, but you could start working like that instead. Only thing missing now is proper sampler, drum sequencer, and BPM track. Yeah, BPM track. I knew someone was gonna say something about that. I knew that. I haven't even mentioned that. I was thinking of maybe mentioning that in my video, like finally we have everything we asked for, except from this one thing. But yeah, I didn't. Maybe I should. No, I think that Lars did a good job on this, and seeing how they have now actually, with 2 updates, added so much stuff that we've been asking for years. The BPM track, I think, will be coming down the line. Considering everything they've added, I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't add that in the end. Well, okay, so one way you could work around this MIDI thing is if you take a, let me say, okay, so let me show you a way I would hack it. If you seriously want to record drums on individual channels, it's really contrived, but I'll show you what I would do if I were you, okay? Right. So, if I was a person who wanted to be able to record notes to their own MIDI tracks, what I would do is I would take a MIDI controller like this, and then I would go to a PC or a Mac. I would connect this thing. Hopefully this controller you're having, in this case I got an iRig pads. Well, in that case I would tell each of the pads to talk only on a specific channel with a specific note. And now all you have to do is set up all the MIDI tracks, you know, for a multi-out, and when you're recording stuff, you can record them onto several MIDI lanes, I think. Let's see here. Let's open up Cubasis and see if this is something that could be achieved. So here we got a multi-channel. Would that be possible to do that? Because you can pretty much arm all MIDI tracks. Let's see here what happens if we try to record MIDI notes on all of them. As you can see, I am recording MIDI notes onto all of these at the same time, right? Okay, so let's say you split it up and you take your controller and you make sure that each pad is set up on its own own MIDI channel. It's super contrived. It's super contrived because let's say you set up this one on MIDI channel 1, MIDI channel 2, MIDI channel 3, MIDI channel 4. And then you set up your drum machine as a multi-instance. You set up 4 MIDI channel, you do the multi-instance, and then you set up all of them to only take in MIDI on one channel. Let's see here. Can we do that? Yeah, we can do that. So we tell it to take MIDI from the controller, and then we would set it to take in, come on, we'll do it on this one. Then we'll set it to the first track to only take in MIDI from channel 1, and then the next one channel 2, and then you make sure you set these up. Channel 1, C, channel 2, C half note, channel 3, D, channel 4. It's really contrived, but you can do it like that. And then when you're pressing record and you got all the tracks armed, only the notes that, you know, only the notes routed to each of these channels are gonna come out to that channel. It is super contrived. I don't know why anyone would do that, but it is a way of doing it. There are workarounds for everything. You can do it. I wouldn't though. It's almost simpler to just record all of the drums onto one track, and then if you want to break it up, you just go into the MIDI track and then, you know, copy just the bass drum, for instance, and put it into a new track. I know It takes time. It's time consuming. But yeah, there are workarounds for everything. That would work if you were recording via pads, but for example, with apps like a sequencer on it, you can't do that. Yeah, I know. That is always going to be a problem. That is always going to be a problem, but you'll have to find some other way of doing it. I get completely what you guys mean, but yeah, and honestly, this is just way too much. It takes too long. It's way too much. Did you know your iPad has a crack on the screen? Rustic, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? What's going on? What's going on with you? Why is this a thing? Why do you keep doing this, Rustic? Huh? I got my eye on you. Do you know there's a crack on your screen? Huh? Come on. Of course I know there's a crack on my screen. I know there is. Instead of shelling out for a proprietary stuff like Jakob was originally talking about. Yeah. Mike and anyone else, Mike and Enrique, we're still friends, I hope, all of us. After your discussion, I can see that there's been a little volcano growing here, but I hope we're still friends, all of us. We should be able to have different opinions and still love the fuck out of each other, right? Because I'd sure as hell live in a world like that than the other thing, than the opposite. I love that the world is different, that everyone is different. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It can be painful, but it's a good thing. Did I catch up with everything? Yeah, we did. By the way, would anyone ever be interested in me showing how I build these graphics for my videos on the MacBook? I know it's a MacBook thing, but I'm thinking of ways of adding new content to my main channel, and I think it's a good idea just to try it out here first on the live channel. Would anyone be interested in that? Me using Magic Music visuals, showing how I do that. If anyone's interested in that, let me know, because I'd love to show you. Rustic, what you think does not matter now, because I can't tell if you're fucking with me or if you actually mean it. I guess there's, like, with baseline, that's one yes. Rustic, I'll read yours as a half a yes. Okay, like a maybe. I'll do that. We can do that. We can do that. Current, have you changed your name, or are you new to the channel? Because, or maybe you're one of those who don't comment that often, or did you just change your user ID? I'm really just happy to see people writing in here, and I don't recognize that name. Ah, you're using Magic. I tested that out, but I haven't paid for it. I actually paid for a license because I think it's that good. It's worth the money I put into it. It's a pain. Benjamin, do you mean the graphics or do you mean something else? Are you feeling pain right now? Yes. Earth also says yes. Okay. I'd love to show you guys. You know what? We'll do that. Next stream, I'll show you how I build some awesome graphics. We'll build something that I'll eventually use inside a video. So next Wednesday, we'll do that. I'll build something inside Magic Music Visuals, and I'll show you how that works. I was speaking Cubasis. Okay, I get it, Benjamin. Does anyone else remember when Jakob was a part of the sound test room? I do. Yes, I do, Rustic. Magic is quite affordable. A lot of people I know on Twitch have put the time in to learn Touch Designer, but the learning curve is higher. Josh Good remembers the sound test room days. Pascal Kiefer, great. Alright, cool. I mostly watch though, says Current. I get it. Okay, I get it. But now I know that you're here, so I'm gonna think of you whenever I do a stream or I do a video. I remember when Jakob had 5k subs. How many do you have now, Vortex? I mean, you're growing nicely, right? Mr. Fung also remembers. How long have you been with me, all of you? How long? I can't thank you enough for all the support you've been giving me these years. It is what's keeping me going on. Especially when stuff gets rough, you know? When stuff are changing and you're trying to figure out what you're doing wrong with your video uploads and why YouTube won't recommend your videos to people. And just through all of that, there's always this little glowing thing, you know, in the darkness. And that's you, the audience, like the people who have been following me these years. You're always there. That's what I grab onto when I feel like I'm in a really dark space. 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Well, thank you for that. I remember when Jakob had a non-cracked iPad. God damn it, Dan. Yeah, I remember that too. It wasn't too long ago. It only took a moment and a stupid Apple cover to change that. But I seriously remember when you had tons of gadget tutorials. Oh, Dan, I haven't done a gadget tutorial in ages. I were getting some comments about people telling me they wanted to see some other stuff, and I'm really sensitive to stuff like that. Like, have anyone noticed that I haven't really done that many hardware videos for a while? It's because whenever I put out a hardware video, I kept getting complaints from some people saying that suddenly I was only doing hardware, which is completely untrue. I've always done hardware videos, you know, but the last like 6 or 7 months, 8 almost none of them are hardware because of all the complaints I was getting. And I wasn't sure if that was the main consensus. And now I'm thinking that that's one of the reasons why I'm losing a lot of views, because I'm no longer doing them. So maybe I should start doing more of them. Well, I got one coming with the Unisynth. I have to show that one to you because god damn, it sounds good. I was so surprised when I got it in my hands. First of all, it weighs more. It weighs more than the old one. It kind of got the same profile. You see this? It's got the same profile of the old Unisynth, but there's more meat on it right now. It's heavier, sturdy. It's got actual screws in it and stuff. It's got the full-sized MIDI and also balanced output, which is great. And the thing just sounds fucking awesome. It sounds fucking awesome. And it can pretty much produce any type of sound that I wanted, which is how I made my track. Like every sound was taken from here, apart from the vocals, of course. But my god, I had so much fun with it, and I didn't want to stop producing with it. I'm gonna make more music with this one, more songs with it, because there's so much untapped sound in here I haven't discovered yet, but I love the sounds that they put in. It's pretty contemporary, which is funny, okay? Because contemporary sounds today sounds like sounds that we used to hear during our teens or early years, you know? They sound like 80s synth music. You got like synthwave, vaporwave, cyberpunk type presets in here. And they all sound disgustingly good. And what I love about this synthesizer is it's got an edginess to the filters, dual filters by the way, but it's got an edginess to the filters that remind me of a synthesizer I love so dearly, Agonizer. Agonizer has got a dirty sound to it, right? And it's not that it sounds dirty, but it can sound just as dirty. It's just sick. Why aren't my... Come on, it's not updating. Oh, I can't see the chat anymore. Just give me a second. I just need to find the chat. Come on. It stopped updating. Now it doesn't... What the hell? Okay, I'm gonna have to use this. What's the polyphony? It's a paraphonic synth. So it's got 3 voices because it's got 3 oscillators. So that's 1 oscillator per voice. So you can run it either in a legato mode or mono or paraphonic. So paraphonic just means that basically as many voices as you've got oscillators. Sorry, work stuff. I'll be back. Don't worry, Mike. The big Uno synthesizer and the small one, IK Multimedia, I didn't pay for this. They sent this to me. So they asked me, which one do you want to demo? Do you want to demo the small one or the big one? And I asked them, like, what's the difference really? And they said, well, the biggest difference is the key bed, the housing, and that's pretty much it. But if you look at connections and stuff, it's the same, okay? It's the same synth, the same internals, same everything, but with the bigger one you get an aluminum chassis and you get a proper key bed and also modulation wheel and pitch wheel. And I also think that it's got a regular adapter connection. You know, this one, it has 2 USB micro connectors. So it's got one for power and one for USB, where you actually get to connect it. So like I did actually, I connected this to Cubase's in order to sequence some of the stuff. What I didn't run as, because it has its own internal sequencer, and it can sound quite TB-esque because of the filters and the drive in here. It can sound really rubber ducky, but it was so simple to connect up. Because Cubasis just recognized it as the Unisynth instantly for the MIDI in and outs, and that's what you use the second port for. But the first one is simply just for power. And the way I was working with it the whole time, I didn't even connect it to wall power. I just used a portable battery, because while I was working with my track, I sometimes go out on the balcony and I imagine myself smoking while vaping, because I still have that stupid mindset. I quit smoking and I started vaping instead. And my plans are to stop with this too. Well, sometimes I need to go out on the balcony and sit down as if I'm smoking. And so when I do that, I didn't want to leave the synth here. I mean, with the iPad, I just take the iPad, I walk with it out to the balcony, and I keep working. I wanted to do the same thing with the Unisynth, so I just used a portable battery, a USB bank. That's what I powered it with. Why would they not put USB-C in 2021? It takes some time for this type of tech to change. I think that 2 years from now, most of these things coming out will have USB-C connectors. These things are always later than the current tech. You know, it's always going to take a little bit of time. So, yeah. Someone mentions the Microfreak. Yes, if you're just considering price, then yes, you can get a Microfreak. It's cheaper. But it sounds nothing like this thing. And that's the first thing I listen for. I mean, I make music, so I'm gonna be judging stuff with my ears first. This thing does not sound like the Microfreak at all. They sound nothing alike. So in that case, they cannot even be compared, really. And then after that, what do you compare after that? I don't know. Microfreak sounds awesome. I have the Microfreak. It sounds great. And it's got a very great digital sound to it. It can do so much considering the different types of engines and things like that. And for anyone who wants a Microfreak but don't want to shell out for the Microfreak, you could go and get Mynth synthesizer by FingerLab, because it's not too far off from it in the way that it sounds, sound-wise. It's got a very similar sound, and because of how you can draw your own waveforms inside the Mynth synthesizer, you can pretty much produce any type of timbre you want, like you can with the Microfreak, because the Microfreak has several engines in it, right? So depending on what engine you use, if you switch between all of them, you can produce any type of timbre you want. Mynth is very close to it, sound-wise, and also in how many different timbres it can produce. It's a really awesome synth. Microfreak is the only synth I have left on my desk. Have you sold everything else, Samuel? I do that with my Typhoon. I hook it up to a battery, audio to Bluetooth speaker, and then just jam anywhere. It sounds awesome. No, I just put them in the closet. Okay. So you kept all the synths. You didn't sell them. You kept them. You just put them in the closet instead. Can you do me a favor, chat, and press the thumbs up if you haven't yet on this thing? I know I'm really shitty at asking for that, but it turns out that it's supposed to be working. At least that's what my one of my friends running another gaming channel told me, that if you don't do that, you're an idiot, Jakob. So I'm asking you, put the thumbs up, especially if you've had fun. I go for a Waldorf Pulse 2, around €300. I got a mixed phase controller that has a host ports and turns any other controller into Bluetooth. It helps me focus. Samuel, I get it. Not having a cluttered desk space and just having this one thing. Yeah, I get it. I completely get it. Sometimes I forget what I'm doing because there's too many things on the desk. Done. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the likes. Sometimes it's fun to go closet diving and see what else I can find. You know, a lot of people, I've read a lot of comments about the Unisynth Pro, and most people seem to really love the way it sounds, which is it's not strange. If you haven't heard it yet, go and listen to some demos. It sounds really good. But one thing that people were worried about is menu diving, and it's hard to understand if you don't have the synth in your hand. But when it comes to menu diving, there's not that much diving you actually do. You can technically dive through all of the menus using just the preset button and the data knob and do all of the work that way. But that's not how they set it up. The way they set it up is basically you have 4 knobs, just like you did on the old synth, but they've put page selectors here. So if you want to work with the oscillator, you press that and these 4 knobs will control the oscillator. You press again, you get the tuning and ring modulation. You press the mix, you get to work with that, the filter 1, filter 2, LFO 1, LFO 2, filter envelope, amp envelope, matrix. There's not that much menu diving. The only time you really start diving into something is when you want to change out the effects, which is cool. I didn't really know that there were more effects than what I could already see here. So where it says, right here, you can't see it, it's too dark, but it says modulation. And in the modulation tab, you have 3 different effects to choose from. You can either run a phaser, or a flanger, or a chorus. And you can switch between them. And that's when you have to menu dive to set those up. And then basically what this knob does is basically just a blend value. How much of the effect do you want? But you can literally change every parameter in the effect from the menu. That's where you menu dive. But to actually control the synthesizer, you don't do menu diving. You just switch to a page, and you have these four controls dedicated to those four features in that page, which is really nice. So it's really quick to work with. I mean, I've got a Mini Nova, okay? I know what menu diving can be like. I love this. I love the hell. I'll show you here on the side if I can show you. I love the hell out of my Mini Nova. Okay, now I put a controller on there, but I love this one so much. Even though I've got lots of stuff on it, you know, it's right here during the stream. I will be moving this after the stream because normally all of this stuff is over here. But when working with this one, the amount of menu diving you actually do is absolutely insane. There's a lot of menu diving. So, I mean, Kai, he mentioned he's got a Waldorf, I can't remember, but it's a desktop module. And he said the same thing, like the menu diving on that one is absolutely insane, the amount of menu diving you do. But that's not what you get with this one. It's a page selector, and then when you've selected a page, you have dedicated features for all of the knobs. So it's really simple and really fast and quick to work with. It's not like the Mini Nova. And that doesn't mean that I'm putting Mini Nova in the dirt, because up to date, for the price that you pay for a Mini Nova, it's an incredibly good sounding synthesizer. Absolutely love it. My phone is acting up. What's going on? What is going on? I don't know. It seems like my Wi-Fi died or something. I hope my stream is still going. The blow-filled, Pascal. Yeah, it might be the blow-filled. Let's see here. You know, one of the biggest things with, music today is that all these companies are now selling these smaller synthesizers and drum machines. You can get them for almost no price. And there is this one company that I don't like mentioning, and they're making really, really inexpensive stuff. So anyone can get their hands on groove boxes, baseline synthesizers, regular synths, full-on synthesizers for almost no money at all. I mean, it's getting really, really cheap, inexpensive to buy these things. But the problem is, in that case, is that you keep buying stuff, and you buy stuff, and you buy and buy and buy and buy and buy and buy. And then you end up with a cluttered desk. And how many of these pieces of gears have you actually taken the time to learn? I mean, the way that I learned synthesis when I was younger was that I basically spent an entire, half a year or a year working and saving money, and then I went to the music store and I paid someone like $1,200, everything I had saved, and bought a hardware synthesizer. Now the next synth I was gonna buy was gonna be like at least 8 or 9 months down the line, because I didn't have anything else that I was doing. I wasn't really partying at that time. This was before I became a complete and utter fuck up and a drunk. All right, but before that, I didn't spend anything on anything. I didn't go to the movies. I didn't spend time with people. I was sitting alone in a studio learning about these things. So I bought this synth. I paid $1,200 for it. I took it home and I sat down for almost 6 months doing nothing but learning this thing. And while I was learning it, I was learning about synthesis and how filters work, how modulation work, what velocity is, all of these things. How many do this today? And think about what we're going through. You buy one iDevice, you can buy it used. You can get an iDevice for $200-300 and you can do loads with it. And all you have to do then is just buy a few apps. And you can get full-on 6 synthesizers for a price of what? Like $5, $10? Nothing, right? We keep buying these things. How many of these things do we actually sit down and learn? Is it that it's not interesting enough, or is it that we're getting distracted? What is it that keeps doing that? I mean, it's easy to fall into that loop where you're just buying new stuff and not really using it. So when I'm in the zone, it's an iPad Air 2 and Launchpad Pro 3 and headphones. I bought a 150 Volca modular, and it had all the basic of synthesis to learn in it. Yeah, there's one way to go. Very inexpensive way to learn about synthesis. I wish I could have all the same. I love being broke, no issues. Well, that's also a way to go, being broke. Oh crap. Out of water, out of tea. I'm out of everything. Alright, listen up, people. I have to stop the stream. My partner, she has been trying to change direction in her life. And she doesn't want to just continue being a reporter or journalist and doing these things. So she's actually reading or studying, to become something else. And now she actually is doing, basically they have to go to a workplace and actually do some work to learn some practical stuff. And so she has to get up really, really early in the morning. So I can't stream for... I've already streamed for 2 hours. Whoops, I guess I already fucked it up. Crap. Okay, I'm gonna I'm gonna round it up. God damn, I didn't notice that the time went so fast. It's your fault. I'm having too much fun with you. Have you heard about Eurorack? It's the trolling hour. Dan, you can't say that, because then I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. If someone mention it, I can't. Now I can't do it. You ruined it. I can't troll you now. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna troll you. Even trolling your partner. Oh, you have no idea how much I troll my partner. The things she has to go through. I love her. And that makes it worse, I troll people really hard when I love them. And I know it's shitty, and I've understood over time, that sometimes it might not be as fun, but if you're not telling me that it's not fun, I don't get it. I'm kind of thick like that. Thick skull. Sometimes I ask her, like, do you think I'm being too shitty now? Do you think I'm being an asshole now? And usually she's like, no. She's got such a high bar before she actually gets annoyed with me. When are you gonna marry her? When you stop talking dirty in chat, Rustic. So I guess never. So thank you so much, everyone. And hi Dad. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me in this stream. I'm just gonna have to live with this cracked little iPad thing, and I'm gonna dream about owning an M1 iPad, and I'm gonna have to save my money for much longer before I actually can afford one, because now I can't sell this because of the decreased value. I can really see it, like, from here. When I bend down like this and the light is hitting it, I can really see the crack. It's really bad. But I'm gonna do what you say. Someone mentioned getting a screen protector, like a hard glass screen protector. I'm gonna do that. Tony Duncan, you just joined in while I'm rounding up the stream. But it's nice to see you, Tony. Nice to see you. Sorry to hear that, Jacob. Yeah, that's the way it is. It had to happen at some point. I've owned... With this one, I've owned 6 iDevices, and none of them have ever cracked, even though I've dropped them and stuff. I guess this was the first time. It had to happen at some point, and that's the way it is. Stay tuned for my UnoSynth Pro video. It's gonna come out next week, probably, but tomorrow I'll try to put out the Cubasis video, because I'm so happy with what they did. I was at work. Yeah, I get it, Tony. I know, you work at these hours. I hope you had a good day. At least, and thank you for at least showing up. The thought that counts, that you're here. I really like the work you've been doing lately. I'm gonna pack it up while I'm talking, and I'm not gonna troll you. I'm not gonna troll you. I'm just gonna end the stream, and everything's gonna be fine. There we go. Unhook that one. Turn off the screen. Flip that back. What else? What else? Oh, put the Unisynth back. Whoops. Put the Unisynth back over here. There we go. I'm gonna unplug this one. I hope that all of you are going to be having a really nice evening or day or night or whatever it might be over where you are right now. I mean, our time zones are so split. Over here in Sweden, it's 10 p.m. I think it's p.m., right? 10 in the evening, you know. 2200 hours. I think that's the easiest way to say it. Yeah, it's 2200 hours here in Sweden. And what I'll be doing is I'm going to sit down and edit this video for another 6 hours or so. And then I'll be finalizing maybe by playing a game for an hour, and then I'll go to bed. That's my regular days. That's how it usually. It's how it is usually for me. That's usually what I do. Put that in there. The phone in there. 3 p.m. over there. Damn. Sleep well and enjoy the gaming. Yeah, I'll do that in a few hours. I just need to finish up this video. I can't game if I haven't done proper work first, you know. Then I'll just feel lazy and I'll be depressed. So I'm gonna do that first. Gail Franey. Gail. Hello, Gail. Great discussion. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Like I said, next week I'll show you how I build my graphics. We'll do some cool stuff on the MacBook for once, and see how that goes. See if I can keep you interested for long enough. If I can keep you interested for long enough, I'll try out a video on the main channel and see if that interests anyone. Usually people want to see stuff when they see something they don't recognize instantly on the channel. So for the first video it might go well, and if I do a second one, that's usually when people stop watching. So thank you so much for showing up and joining in, and I'll see you next week. And this is where I end the stream, and I'm actually not gonna troll you this time.